Hi there, Librans. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl, and we're looking at October 24th through the 30th of October. In olden times, when we say that, it's kind of Game of Thrones times, I think. Map makers labeled the uncharted and thus dangerous parts of maps with the phrase, "Here be dragons." And this week, could be labeled with exactly the same warning. The Scorpio power mode of last week continues when Mercury, the communicator, enters Scorpio on Monday, October 24th, hooking up with the Sun on Wednesday, October 27th, to make a superior conjunction, which can be a dangerous sign because communication becomes single track and laser like when it's in Scorpio, meaning that you can't kind of joke around or play around with people like you would normally. If you say something, people want to take it to their grave, and tattoo themselves like memento. Guy Pearce is a Libra, by the way. And it's really important that you don't say too much at this point with Mercury in your second house of money and self-esteem and self-worth. I think a really good idea is not talking about money. And that's an issue that, we're way too cavalier about these days. Oh, I owe $20,000 in credit card debt. Oh, I'm overdrawn. It's things that we do say. People do talk about money. And it's been a huge issue in the 2016 presidential campaign because, of course, Donald Trump hasn't given his tax returns, and people want to know how much money he makes and all that sort of thing. So it is a bone of contention. So I think it's really important that if you can get out of talking about money and bonuses and what you're hoping to get for the end of the year or whatever it is, how much something cost, it's a good idea not to talk about it too much, even though it's something that you can be very open and flippant about because it doesn't really mean that much to you. But when Mercury is in Scorpio, it can definitely mean that issues come up that have been repressed, and it could be you talking to a friend about spending money on something and them turning around and saying, "But you owe me money. Don't you remember you owe me $200 or $50 for that gift I bought for so-and-so," and you'd be like, "Really? You're bringing that up now?" So things like that. Mars, the planet of energy, squares up against Uranus on Saturday, October 29, the same day as the last Venus-Saturn merger of the year. Because Mars square Uranus is like risky business on steroids, this poses a huge temptation to believe that the only way to live a meaningful life is to experience life on the edge. What that means to you means something completely different to the next person. Life on the edge. Does that mean that you don't stock up on toilet paper? Does that mean that you wash your face in cold water only? I'm not quite sure what they're trying to get at here. But living on the edge to me means not, worrying about bills and not really stressing about your living situation, which is kind of not as easy as it used to be to live on the edge back in the flower power 60s when people did that and could survive, Because the same energies that are seductively thrilling also happen to be unpredictable, volatile, and potentially destructive, this may be a time to take a few deep breaths and give this particular dragon a pass. The Venus-Saturn conjunction is in Sagittarius, which puts a temporary dampener on those looking for freedom in love, sports, or travel. An intense Scorpio new moon in your second house of money and self-esteem is going to be a very good thing. And in a couple of weeks, you'll realize just how wonderful it was. So pay attention to what happens on Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to speaking to you again next week.